Not only are our numbers better, but it's also helped me personally in my career because I'm more confident now talking to the artist teams and our talent buyers because I can tell exactly what is wrong with the show or exactly how to push it based on data.
Welcome back to the Event Promoter Podcast. In this episode, we have Ashley Dawson from White Oak Music Hall in Houston. You're the senior marketing manager there.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're going to talk about is y'all have like a super impressive sold out rate of your shows and like past projections. So I'll let you kind of touch on some of those numbers and stuff, but the real topic here is like how do we use data? Because I think you particularly are really good at that. White Oak in general, I've heard, is very good at it, using data to determine where to allocate budget for different marketing channels and like which shows need help, which shows you can pretty much expect are going to sell out, and making decisions based on that data. So we're going to dive all into how to use data to actually make decisions to sell out shows with Ashley here. But first, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are and a little bit more about White Oak.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name's Ashley. I work at White Oak Music Hall. I've been there for a while. It will be 6 years in September. So it's a huge part of my life. White Oak, we have 3 different rooms. We have a smaller room, which is 250 cap. We have a downstairs room, 1,400, and then a lawn, which is 5,000. So we've seen artists go from the upstairs through the lawn, and it's just been an incredible experience. Cool. Yeah, it's so cool. We had Faye Webster upstairs, and then she sold out the lawn. So it's very cool to be able to watch artists grow that way, and being there so long too. I feel like I'm a part of it, and it's really exciting stuff. So yeah, but with all of the rooms, we have a lot of volume. So we have around 350 to 400 shows a year. We currently have about 150 shows on sale right now, with more in the funnel. So, we love all of our shows, and we give the same love to all of our shows. We do use data to figure out which shows to prioritize so that we can keep that sold out percentage and past projection percentage up. So those are the things that we kind of focus on, where we used to kind of focus on dog shows, for lack of a better word. If a show isn't doing well, we would just rack our brains and what can we do? How can we fix this? And then the shows that we could have sold out or we could have got past projection, they don't get there because our focus is elsewhere. Not only are our numbers better, but it's also helped me personally in my career because I'm more confident now talking to the artist teams and our talent buyers because I can tell exactly what is wrong with the show or exactly how to push it based on data. So that's really good. And before I was kind of just like, I don't really know. I'm trying.
Yeah.
A couple of KPIs that we look at a lot of them, but there are 2 that we mainly focus on, and we talk about these we have internal marketing meetings. So for that, I'll go in and look at all of our shows and then come to the team with, okay, this show we can blow out of the water. So those KPIs are MROI, marketing return on investment, and EDP, conversion rate. Everybody's benchmarks are going to be different. Our benchmarks, we look for our average MROI is 10. What that means, it's for every $1 we're spending on marketing, we're making $10. So if we're above that benchmark, and then also we're above around 4% EDP conversion, we're like, okay, this show has a lot of potential to blow out of the water. So let's focus more on this show. And then I'll go in and I'll look at our ad campaign. I'm like, what can we do to refine? I'll look at our cost per click. Are these ads working or are they not working? If they're working, I'm going to throw more money at it. If they're not doing that well, I'll refine the targeting. We'll do contests. We'll reach out to partners. Those are the shows that we focus on. Whereas before, it would be there aren't any. We don't have a lot of sales here. Now let me go look at the ads. Let me reach out to partners, all of that stuff. So it's just kind of been switching what we prioritize. And we're at 25% sold out so far here in April 2025. Obviously, that number will fluctuate as shows play through. And we're at 30% past projected. So it's really exciting stuff for our team to be able to focus on that. We have a running list of all the shows that sold out, all the shows that are past projected. And that helps keep morale up with the team
Yeah, anytime you're doing stuff where you're tracking KPIs really closely, like being able to celebrate those wins is like such a morale booster. And when you have teams that are stretched as thin as they are in the event industry, like that's such a big factor.
Yes, no, it's a huge factor. We put little emojis next to the ones that sell. We just try and make it fun, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And I always make sure to call out whoever was leading the show and then pay special attention to when people are digging extra into it. Like our marketing coordinator, Kaylee, she's really great at partnerships. So she'll find coffee shops that will change the name of a coffee or create a special coffee for a show. And stuff like that is really fun and it's super helpful. So just making sure that we're logging all of that for future use and also just as like bots, you know, because it's like that's
Yeah.
incredible stuff. It's
Right.
fun and it's exciting.
Yeah. I have a couple questions to dig into some of that. So one, I think that some people might have missed this, but the past projection number that you mentioned there is interesting because, you know, sold out by itself sometimes can come down to like just what acts you're booking, right? Like you can have a booking strategy and a lot of venues and promoters, that is their whole marketing strategy, is just book acts that are going to sell out, which obviously gets harder and harder as there's more competition to book those same acts, which is where you really do need some strength in your marketing department to be able to kind of be able to compete on both fronts, the booking front and the marketing front. So past projection is really interesting because that's where marketing has really stepped up beyond what just booking, what the expectation was of booking that artist. And then something that I'm curious about is like, you know, Facebook ads, it's really easy to track your ROAS or your what do you call MROI, but like other marketing channels, like getting coffee shops to change the name of a coffee, or running contests on a radio station or through your own social media channels, or like putting event listings out there. Like what is the way that you track those channels? And are there channels where you're just like, this is just not a channel where we're able to really track the direct like cost input and output, but do you have any kind of auxiliary way that you track that?
Yeah, a lot of those are really difficult to track, but what we can do is run things when nothing else is running. So we're actually planning to do that with a launch show that we're coming up. There's a new partner that we're doing a package with, and we're planning to run it when we don't have any ads running, we don't have any radio running. It's just that during that maintenance period. So then we can look and see, were there spikes, like what really happened. Digitally, it's easier because we can give them, you know, like a came from code, you know, a tracking. But with the like coffee shops and stuff, it is harder to know. Sometimes people will take pictures and, you know, but I mean, we can't really actually track that.
Yeah, of course. And I think that that's something, I came from radio originally, and that was always something that we were struggling. We were in the moment of like Facebook ads taking off, and a lot of our ad dollars were leaving to go to Facebook. And it was interesting because radio couldn't track the same results. What we did eventually was we would track, like we would give you the schedule of when your ads ran, and then we would compare that to your Google Analytics data and the Google Search Console data, and show you that more people were searching your brand name while these ads were running.
Whoa.
And that was a way to track that like these radio ads are definitely working. And also something that just happened was lots of people left and spent all their money on Google ads and Facebook ads, and then a year later came back and went, okay, our sales are way down. And we think we need to turn radio back on, which, you know, is not a fun way to learn that lesson.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I haven't thought about it that way.
What are some of the channels that you mentioned a couple there, but what are some of the channels that you do find are working really well right now around like things that are trackable, or things that you think there's like more juice that you can squeeze out of something where it's like something's starting to perform well? Like what are your go-tos to be like, okay, let's just like blow this one out of the water?
Yes, when it comes to paid ads, I mean, the best targeting options are in Meta. So we're able to really refine our targeting there. We spend a lot of time there, but of course we use other channels. But whenever a show, we're like, okay, we can blow this out of the water, we start doing a lot of stuff with partners and with the community. White Oak is really big on just our local community. So we want to be a part of that. So that's really what we do. And we take to our socials. We'll send e-blasts. That's kind of what we do with initiating stuff with partners. And we work with the artist teams constantly. So that's my day to day is going through my email and talking to all the artist teams and collaborating with them on that, because they're the experts in the show. So we're the experts in our market, but they're the experts in their artists. So we're able to, you know, tell them this is what we're doing. This is really working well. What have you seen in other markets work really well? We should try here. Here's our affinity list. What do you think about that? So it's like, it's a lot of collaboration with the artist team.
Yeah. I think two things that you mentioned there about what data allows you to do in your career is like, one, it gives you confidence, because I think a lot of burnout comes from just being like, I am spinning my wheels trying everything and I don't know what's working and what's not. Yeah. And then also like having those wins and everything. So like, can you talk a little bit about a little bit more about like how that affects the morale of a team and yourself, and keeps the team from getting burned out?
Yeah, absolutely. Us keeping track of everything, it just helps us have kind of a light at the end of the tunnel. It gives us something to be excited about. Instead of just every Monday talking about all the shows that are coming, we're able to talk about all of our successes, and then it makes us want to work harder that week to add more to our list. And using data, those KPIs specifically are able to help us increase those numbers. It helps us with burnout as well, because we're not spending as much time focusing on shows that just aren't going to do anything. Because sometimes shows just aren't going to do anything. Sometimes that artist just doesn't have a fan base in our market. And there are a lot of things. So those are the couple of things that help us. And then also, just the confidence that comes with knowing what we're talking about. So we have an artist team come at us, you know, we're able to say this is exactly what's going on. It's helped foster our relationships with the talent buying team as well, because we can explain to them, this is why I want to do a BOGO. And this is the data that's telling me that I should do it. And so it helps. It feels more collaborative throughout different departments and talking to artist teams. So it just feels good.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I think that's huge. That's a huge factor of, that's something we talk about at EventVest all the time. We're building marketing automation tools mostly. And that's a big part of that, is just trying to save marketing teams from the burnout of repetitive work that in our circumstance, like, could be automated. And there's nothing worse than doing a task manually as an intern or a marketing assistant and knowing that this could be automated.
Right.
I've been in that boat. And I was off. That's how I learned automation. I was like, I'm just going to automate this. And my boss went like, wow, that's crazy that you're able to do all that stuff. And it's like, yeah, because I have a computer doing most of it for me.
That's incredible. Yeah.
Well, one last thing, and then we'll sign off. Is there any tools that you're using to track all of that data and like have it all in one place? Is there specific tools or reporting dashboards and stuff that y'all use and seem to think is good?
Yes, we use Sparrow. Sparrow is a godsend to us. We used to be on Google Sheets and have everything everywhere, and Airtable as well, which no shade. But for event marketing specifically, Sparrow is a lifesaver, because it keeps all of your data in one place, all of your assets in one place. It automates graphics, it automates marketing plans. It shows us our KPIs. It's just incredible. Huge shout out Mike Mauer. He used to be the marketing director at White Oak, and he's not here anymore, but he's the guy behind Sparrow. And so we're able to reach out to him too and get—
That's a pretty good in. That's
it's awesome. We have like our own version of Sparrow, like completely White Oak customized. It's pretty incredible. But yes, that, and then TM1 I use a lot. That's how I find the EDP, the marketing tab in there. It's a really helpful tool as well.
Cool. If there's any way people want to connect with you, where can they connect with you?
Can reach me on LinkedIn. I'm always happy. I love talking about this stuff. So I'm always happy to answer any questions or just chat about it.
Yeah, sweet. Thanks so much, Ashley.
Thank you.